Welcome back to another video. We want to show you how to find the inverse of a function in a systematic way. So let me introduce what is an inverse of a function. Let's say you have a function like this, if, and there's another function called g. Now you want to take the function composition, f of g, or you want to take g of f. If you ever get something like this, let's say you are taking f of g, which is equals to g of f, which is equals to 1. In that case, G and F are called inverse of one another. That's how I want to define function or inverse of a function, since this is a pre-calculus course. So how do we find something like this? Let's see. I'll just give you the systematic way. That is, this is a step-by-step method of finding inverse of a function. So let's say you have a function y equals to f of x. The first thing to do is to replace all the x with y and y with x, which really means you are just interchanging x and y's. Okay? Then your next job is to solve for y in terms of x. So what you want to do, you want to write y equals to some function of x. Okay? But let's call this some g of x. Now, after you are done with this, you would just want to say y equals to f inverse x, and then you get your f inverse x, which is equals to g of x. And I'll show you. If this thing seems confusing to you, I'll show you an example how to do it. So let's start with a very simple example, that is the linear function, that is y equals to ax plus b, where a and b belongs to real numbers. Okay, now what we want to do first, we want to replace y with x and x with y. So this is x equals to ay plus b. Yes. And then we want to solve for y in terms of x. So we have y equals to x minus b divided by a, right? Now we want to call y as f inverse x and x minus b divided by a. So I'm claiming that this is my inverse function of y, right? Now let's try to see if this really makes any sense. So I want to take the function composition of f and f inverse. So f of x was ax plus b. I can write it up as f of x. So now I want to put the input as this, f inverse x, which I'm calling x minus b divided by a. So this is x minus b divided by a. And if I put it, this is a times a x minus b, and you have a plus b over here. And this is 1. Sorry, this is x. Actually, I don't have enough. Hi, welcome to another video. We want to talk about inverse of a function in this short video, and I'll show you a step by step on how you can find inverse of a function if there exists such a inverse function. So we'll mostly talk about simple cases since this is pre-calculus, and we will not bother about the complicated cases where it's almost impossible to solve for the polynomials and stuff like that. So let's say you have two functions, f of x and g of x. As you can see, I've written it down over here. And let's say you take function compositions f of g or g of f, and somehow or other, whenever you evaluate these two compositions, let's say you want to evaluate f of g and you evaluate g of f, in both cases they're equal, and it turns out the function composition is nothing but x itself. If this is the case, then f and g are called inverses of each other. If this condition holds, then we say G and F are called inverses of one another. And now I'll show you how you can do it in a step-by-step formula or step-by-step procedure. So the first thing you need to do is to replace all the x's with y. Okay, let's say you have a function y equals to f of x. The first thing you do is that replace y's with x and x's with y. Then you solve for y in terms of x. That means you get something like y equals to g of x. And finally, you write y equals to f inverse of x, such that this f inverse of x is equals to g of x. And I'll show you how this thing really works. So as you can see, I've written something down over here. This is the most simplest of examples. That is the linear function or the function of a straight line. So this is your f of x or y or ax plus b, right? And we want to find the inverse function of it, that is f inverse x. So what we do first is we replace all the x's with y. So this is our first step, x equals to ay plus b. The second step, we solve for y in terms of x. So that will give you x minus b divided by a, right? And in the third step, you just write, instead of y, you write f inverse of x. And say, oh, this is the inverse of this function f of x. Now this is the claim. This is the things that we did, in 3 steps. Now I want to check whether the very definition that I gave for inverse function holds or not. So I want to do f of f inverse, which is f of f inverse of x, which really means f of x minus b divided by a. So this is a, and this is x minus b plus b. These a cancel each other out, and this minus b will cancel this plus b out, so you get an x. So this one holds. Let's do the other way around. So f inverse f, the functional composition. Now you want to do f inverse of f of x. That is, f inverse is what? X minus b divided by a, right? So instead of, okay, let me just do it step by step so that everyone can understand. Now you put this over here. So this is ax plus b minus b divided by a. Again, this is x. So as you can see, f inverse f inverse equals to x. So the inverse of in ax plus b is just x minus b divided by a. So they are inverses of each other. Now we can go for another example. Let's say I want to consider a fraction. Let's say f of x equals to ax plus b cx plus d, where a, b, c, d belongs to R, and x is not equals to negative d by c, because we don't want our denominator to be 0 in order for the fraction to be well defined. Now again, we want to solve it for the inverse function. So how do we find the inverse function? Again, put x, interchange x and y. So you have something like this. Now you do some cross multiplication. You want to solve for y, so you have cyx plus dx equals to ay plus b. Now we put all the y's over here. You have cx minus b equals to, okay, why did I do minus b? It shouldn't be minus b, sorry, my bad. It should be a, and dx over there, so this is b minus dx. And finally you have y equals to b minus dx divided by cx minus a. Or you are saying, or you are claiming that the inverse function is b minus dx cx minus a. All right, now let's check f of f inverse, let's say. So f was what? F was ax plus b divided by cx plus d. So this is a times b minus dx, b minus dx divided by cx minus a plus b. And then you have c of b minus dx, cx minus a, তারপরে হচ্ছে what you do is just simplify the whole stuff. So this is ab minus a dx plus b divided by, this is cx minus a. Sorry if this place seems very narrow. And you have bc minus c dx plus d cx minus a. Now you have ab minus a dx plus bcx minus bd. And now you have in the denominator, this is bc minus c dx plus dcx bc, yeah, dcx, and the last term will be, okay, how do I write this in this very short area? This is AD. Okay, if I'm not mistaken or I haven't done any silly mistakes, let's see where this goes. These two cancel each other out. You have BC minus AD over here. And here, what do we have? We have AB. Okay, let me see if I have done this correctly. X plus B. Okay, so this is BD. This is Y, so this is Cx minus A and B minus dx. Okay, everything looks correct. And now what do we do? This is BCx, this is ADX. So now we have, yeah, AB minus BD plus X, and I can have BC minus AD over here. And then what we have is AB minus BD, which just tells me this is A minus D. Okay, this part should be 0. Maybe I've done some mistake somewhere over here. Um, yeah, I made a mistake. As you can see, this should be A plus B I mean a minus b over here because this is bcx and ab. Yep, I made a very silly mistake. Sorry about that. This is what happens when you make video out of scratch. But yeah, it's gonna get uploaded in YouTube Raw anyways, so that people can know that even I can make mistakes. Like everyone makes mistakes, even the guy who's trying to teach you how to find inverse functions. Yeah, and this sort of thing happens every time. So, yep. Because as you can see, this is cx minus a, right? I wrote the a in such a way it looked like a d, so that's why I was reading it wrong, and hence I wrote it wrong. So it is very important that you have a really good handwriting, not a trash handwriting like me. All right, so now everything works out. This two cancels out, this two cancels out, and we have x. Similarly, you can check if inverse x composed with f of x will also give you x. So the inverse function is indeed b minus dx divided by cx minus a, where f of x is equals to ax plus b, and this is cx plus d. And this is how you can work for, like, you can use all the steps mentioned over here to find inverse of any function that you want. But in practice, if they're linear or quadratic, uh, well, so far what I have seen is that if you have linear or quadratic stuff, you can deal with them. However, if you go up to higher orders, let's say cubic, quartic, um, it becomes very difficult. It becomes very difficult to deal with them, and most of the textbooks don't even have them or any sort of things that I have met in my life so far. Never asked me to find inverse of a 10th order polynomial, so that's a relief. So yeah, these are the steps that you can use to find inverse of a function. I hope you liked it. I'm sorry for some of the silly mistakes that I made. I hope you won't make it in your exams. Otherwise, you're gonna get a zero. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And again, thank you for watching us, supporting us. If you like this video, do share, do subscribe, and hit the bell icon. Thank you so much. See you in the next video.